I think this was when Eckhart and me were in Pondicherry. We were having dinner one evening, and what had happened is the day I met Eckhart, when I flew from Mumbai to Chennai and then went to Pondicherry, I had lost my grandmother the same morning. She was ailing and we knew she was on her way out, and she passed away in the morning, and we did all the funeral and everything and we moved on. So my conversation with Eckhart at the dinner table, which I remember very clearly, is a question I asked him. This was going way back now, 12 years. I told Eckhart, I said, I have noticed whenever someone who I love dies, in which case here was my grandmother who had passed away. About a year before that, my dog had passed away. I had a dog for 17 years. My question was, whenever someone passes away, I sense a vacuum. The vacuum is external in the sense that person who was there is no more. Like, for example, my dog was in a particular spot. I would see him every day coming back from work, and he is not there. So that's a physical vacuum. And then is the vacuum inside. You feel that loss. So I asked Eckhart, I said, I felt this when my grandmother passed away, when my dog passed away, when anyone passes away, that vacuum is sensed. What would happen if everyone I loved passed away at the same time? This was my question. And he looked at me and he smiled. He said, that's a wonderful question. It was quite strange actually. And he said, the answer is astonishingly simple. He said, that's what enlightenment is. After 12 years, the understanding is there of what he meant. My understanding is what he was pointing to was the fact that when you do not derive your sense of self from anyone, anything, then one is enlightened. Because the ego derives its sense of self from objects. It could be animate or inanimate objects, people, objects, expensive objects around, or things we treasure, or even thoughts. We derive our sense of self from these things. When we no longer derive our sense of self, that is what enlightenment is. I think it's quite clear. And again, Eckhart gave such a beautiful pointer to this, that it was something which was, you can't argue with it. It's so clear to me. It's so clearly seen that this is the core. The core is the ego's constant deriving its sense of self from the other. Ramesh's guru's guru, Siddharameshwar Maharaj, had said, when you are at that state where nothing affects you, if someone you love passes away, it is the same as if you heard the news of someone else's friend passing away in some village. That is the true state. This is what he meant. Of course, according to my understanding, this is what it is. This is what it means to die before you die. We read so many teachers say die before you die. Eckhart says die before you die. It means die to this deriving the sense of self from the external. When that is history, then you are left with what is conscious presence. That is all there is. So there is no object as such separate from yourself, because there is what is, which is the conscious presence of what is. and objects themselves are an appearance in that consciousness as nothing apart from me, so to speak. That is the total what is. So then what would happen if an object appeared or disappeared? All objects come and go, that is one's life experience. Your cherished relationships come and go. Objects disintegrate, deteriorate. Isn't that everyone's life experience? Everything comes and goes. Now this reminds me of another Maharaj story. It's just come to mind. Again, Mular Patan, Maharaj's translator, whom I would keep needling for giving me stories on Maharaj. I said, do you remember anything else? Something really impactful which Maharaj said. He said, yeah. He said, once this man who was of some professor in Vedanta came to Maharaj's satsang, very proud, sat there, looked at everyone first, everyone acknowledged him. And then he posed a question to Maharaj. He said, Maharaj ji, I have a question. And he looked around, So Maharaj looked at him and said, yes. He said, what would happen if Shiva and Vishnu came and stood in front of you right now? And then again looked around. And Maharaj looked at him and said, I would tell them to get out. And actually, I don't think Maharaj said get out. He used some expletives, which really upset this man. He said, how dare you say this about Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu? And was very angry and looked at everyone and what is this going on? And he left. After he left, Maharaj told his audience, his satsang, he said, obviously, whatever comes is going to go. Even if it's Shiva or Vishnu who come and stand in front of me, they are going to go. Whatever comes, goes. I am only interested in the eternal. The man missed the point. So, everything is transient. Everything it is witnessed in this movie of life comes and goes. As we clock more years, we go deeper into that knowing that things move. But what is constant is the awareness in which it comes and goes. So coming back to Eckhart, I think in that one-line answer, it was a beautiful gift. It gave so much clarity, at least to me. That's what it was. So I won't forget that one dinner conversation easily. It's so nice to have such conversations because normally at dinners and social gatherings, one is talking about which movies have you seen and how's the weather here, where have you traveled, and then on the other end you have this conversation, which is a refreshing change. So I really cherish these memories with Eckhart. It's been a while, but it's really stayed.